Okay, so like I told you, let's actually just fucking start from the top, because it's just easier. So maximum attention span is usually about 3 hours, and you want to max your time, right? Because sometimes I see you'll be drawing and you'll be drawing like all day, and a lot of times a lot of your other things will get neglected, right? And then Chad will get upset and he'll mention something to me, and then, or he'll come up and just bug the shit out of you, or start yelling at you, telling you to do shit. And then so obviously you're interested in this because you don't want that to happen, and you want to be more efficient, right? Mm-hmm. Because every day you're here, that you need to draw, obviously, every day, pretty much for the rest of your life, in perpetuity. So for the rest of your fucking life, that's you need to have like some fucking, I mean, obviously you're gonna have days off that you don't do it or anything, but even just like a little bit of drawing, even if it's like 10 fucking minutes of shit, you wanna at least do it. Because if you don't do it, like what I showed you when I was drawing your dog, I was rusty because I hadn't done it in a while, and I was like, fuck. So I went home, I started practicing again. I pulled out my sketchbook because it just been a long time. Your shit will atrophy. Your shit will atrophy. And as a tattooer, a lot of times we can actually get away with not drawing, and it'll actually fuck us up, right? Because you're a dual class. You play D&D?
Yeah.
So, and you remember how you dual class, and you have to invest time if you want to be a monk, druid, or a cleric fighter. You don't level them up at the same time. You have to actually invest the levels, like one level here, one level here, one level here, one level here. So you have to also do that with your time. So if you want to, as a tattooer, tattooing is independent from drawing. These skills are completely independent from each other. They complement each other very well. But if you, time and time again, and I've seen it so many times, I've met so many tattooers who can't draw. You can be a great drawer, you can be a great illustrator, a great painter, a great this, a great that, whatever, and not know how to tattoo, obviously, not be able to do it at all. In fact, be probably really shitty at it. And you could be a great tattooer and be horrible at drawing. So when you're investing, you have to put time here, time here, time here, time here. And this is paid work, right? When you're actually tattooing. Once you graduate from your apprenticeship stuff, and this is obviously unpaid. I mean, you can mix it in. You can illustrate your tattoos, right? That's your ideal zone. That's your ideal. So that way your homework rolls in to your work. Make sense? Mm-hmm. And these are all just things that I've kind of just thought in my head, and I've developed, and I've kind of realized. No one really, I've had mentors. I've had like an actual mentor with an actual apprenticeship. I had two. One didn't work out very well, and then the other ended up not that great. It ended poorly. But I've also had mentors, like people who guided me. And the unfortunate thing about the tattoo industry is that people don't actually have like academic knowledge of the tattoo industry. I think Chad is probably the closest thing to being some sort of maven with tattoo knowledge. He knows so much about the history, the culture, the this, the that, and all everything. But as far as academic knowledge that translates into protocols, like actual processes, actual sequences of behaviors and things to perform. There's really not much. I mean, there's probably a good amount of, there's a vast amount of knowledge out there, but it's not like in a textbook, right? And that's not going to happen. That's not really going to happen in the tattoo industry. And one of the major things is that you could be a great tattooer and a shitty teacher, like terrible. So your lesson today is maximizing your time. So you want to min-max, right? You know how to min-max shit, right? You play MMOs?
Yeah.
You know, you want to get that. You want all your gear and all your stats to specialize. You know, you want to specialize your learning, because that's what you're doing right now. You're as an apprentice. Your job is two things: work for the shop, and and what you get back for doing that is to learn. So if you work for the shop and you don't maximize your learning, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. So, and it's important to understand that. You know, you're not dumb, you're just young. You're young. Like, I have so much more knowledge than you, and it's not for any specific reason except for I've lived longer and I've applied myself toward that understanding, that knowledge. It's not because I'm smarter, it's not because I'm better, it's not because of any other thing. It's not, and Chad has more knowledge than I do. I go to Chad and ask him, like, well, what do you think of this? This is weird. Like, why is the skin reacting like this? So, and the reason I tell you this, because I spent a lot of my apprenticeship and a lot of my time tattooing in the early years not learning right. There was actually, that was me. So what I ended up doing is I ended up kind of almost obsessed with how to learn faster. You know, I was obsessed with kind of like learning how to speed read, obsessed with learning how to acquire and retain knowledge that's applicable. I was obsessed with understanding like what was important to know and what wasn't important to know. And I would bring these things up to a lot of people, even people who were guiding me. And sometimes it would land, and sometimes they'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool, that'll work. But not a lot of people really kind of conceptualize this. Like, a lot of people are just kind of living their lives, which is what I was doing before. And I realized kind of early on that I was like, I need to understand this better, because when I was growing up as a tattooer, there wasn't somebody teaching me. I was just left to just swim on my own, you know. And that's kind of how it was in the industry when I was growing up. People were just kind of like, well, fuck it, if you figure it out, you figure it out, right? It was kind of like throwing birds off a nest. But I believe that there's specific things you can do to enhance your learning. So one of the things that I know is that, you know, studying a lot of the weird fucking science shit that I study, you know, and people would tell me, oh, it's a waste of time, you should just study tattooing. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. I can do multiple things, right? I practice drawing, I'd study some science, and I would do tattoos. Obviously, I can't not do tattoos, so I don't have to worry about that time management, right? Because people are always coming in and trying to get tattoos from me. At least now that I'm at least semi-established. Like, I'm established, right? I'm not fucking Chris Garver. I'm not fucking Jeff Gugway. I'm not fucking some major big name or whatever. But I have a consistent, steady clientele of people who like me and trust me and want tattoos from me. So I don't have to worry about that. So what do I need to worry about? I need to worry about time, right? Before it was all about getting people to get tattooed by me. I was just constantly like, God, just, I do tattoos for free, like all the time, just to get people to come and get tattooed from me. And then once I finally feel like I understood tattooing, then I had to do drawing and I had to catch up on my drawing. Even though I was a pretty good illustrator my whole life, I was kind of lazy. So I don't want that for you. And then I would do a tertiary skill. And my tertiary skills were, so here's an example, right? Science of learning. Science of learning. Figure drawing. And that one's a weird one. Illustration. Because illustration, I think, is the best translation to tattoos because it uses line work. And it uses the motion of the line work, like how I'm telling you to draw what something is doing, not what something is. That's a lot of illustration. So illustration, especially because just line work, right? Line work. And then obviously tattooing. That's the default. And then, so I got about 4 here. I was doing gym, bodybuilding, jiu-jitsu, and that was just kind of like for me. I think past this point, you can really just start, gaming. Like I told you, I want to be a professional gamer. Once gym, martial arts. So what I did is I kind of decided I'm going to pick 5 interests that all synergize, like that I liked, right? And the reason figure drawing synergizes with tattooing is because understanding the flow of the body and how the body behaves, because I always really want to do big, giant pieces, right? And you've seen that piece that I'm doing on Haley's leg. And so when we were talking about it for my girlfriend's leg, I already knew exactly how I was going to place that thing. Like I could look at that leg, and I've been doing figure drawing so much, and we've been together for years, so I obviously know the shape of her body. So I've had a lot of time to think about what's going to kind of get placed there. So when we decided that we were going to do an alien queen, I already knew, like literally the moment she said that, I knew exactly how it was going to place, and it looked, and how I imagined it. Maybe like a little the details and whatnot. That's a little new, but the basic general placement of how I built that leg, it was just imagined in my head right away. It looks exactly how I pictured it. So that's how figure drawing has helped me, because I know how the body flows. I know how the body flows, and I know how it you like I'm telling you about the rhythm of the body and how gravity kind of like channels down through it. Organics, if you're drawing a table or a box or whatever, box isn't it can exist independent of gravity because it's man-made, but organics, way different. Like when we're drawing your dog, way different. So we're gonna go, so the science of learning, this is just to help maximize this. I was also into like nootropics for a while, and those are supplements that help your brain be smarter and stuff like that. They're kind of the best nootropic, honestly, is the gym and sleep. Sleep and the gym is going to have are literally more effective than any food, any supplement, any tea, any fucking, even Adderall, whatever. It's going to be the most effective. The figure drawing helped me understand the body and placement, because the placement of a tattoo, right? Placement can make a good tattoo look bad, and make a bad tattoo look good. If the placement, so above all else, placement matters. And that's why I looked into figure drawing. Illustration is obviously, that's just, general drawing. Doesn't hurt to have it. It's what I always wanted to do ever since I started drawing. So I was just always into lines and illustration, all that kind of stuff. So obviously it's a no-brainer. I mean, it speaks for itself, right? This one speaks for itself. Tattooing speaks for itself. Obviously that's my bread and butter. And then, so I chose these things, and I was into body language and behavior science because I wanted to be able to sell better, because I was a shitty salesman before. And then now, I'm not a fucking car salesman, but I can fucking sell a tattoo at least. And I can sell it in the way that I want, right? I'm not trying to be a hustler. I'm trying to be an artist. But I also need to be able to sell my skills, right? If I'm just like a timid, blah, blah, blah artist, the more people the more tattoos you're gonna get, because people just know you. The reason behavior science is important for a tattooer is because the reason you study body language, right? Body language is important for a tattooer, for a tattoo artist, for somebody, for almost anybody, because it is a fast track to trust and credibility. Because this tattooing is a trust-based industry, right? People are not going to let you permanently change their body unless they trust you. So that's why that's important. So it's trust-based industry. All right. So the first topic we're going to do is time management. Time management. So right away, I'm so bad. I hate drawing on the back of things.
Yeah, no, me too.
So based off of like what I studied, I specifically learned this from Huberman. So I'm definitely into that podcast, even though I don't watch a lot of it these days. Is that there's usually a 3 to 4 hour window in which once you start something, let's see, 3 in which you start something, when start, that's how long you have until your brain is ready to move on. Ready to move on. So just knowing that is important. You cannot go 12 hours cranking it out at full speed. At full speed. This is where people burn out. If you are constantly going at maximum all the time, and I've done this, I've hit my burnout, and I go into a depressed state for a couple weeks. I'm just fucking done, right? And it's a natural thing. Imagine your attention like a seesaw, right? And this is effort, relax. When you tip it, for every bit you tip it, for every bit you tip it in this direction, this is going to get heavier, and it needs to come back down and balance out for an equal amount of time, right? Equal. I mean, you could probably get away with less relaxation if you really wanted to kind of like crank it out, but you need to give yourself equal time. You need to plan your rewards, right? Plan your downtime. Plan downtime. Stop being a slave to your moment to moment. Don't slave to moment. You know, if you really want to succeed at something, if you really want to achieve something, you can't slave moment to moment. You can't just be like, now I'm hungry, well now I'm sleepy, well now I'm this, well now I'm that. Just open up your day, right? My ideal day, open up the day with the gym and get that out of the way, right? First thing, gym, water, etc. Then I'll have downtime. So second, coffee, and I don't like to eat until the afternoon, but like today I had a little snack, you know, just because I hit the gym. I felt kind of hungry, and that was my downtime, right? That was my relax. And in that time, while I was also relaxing, I also considered my day. Considered day, because it's before we started, right? I woke up at around 8:39 today, which gave me 3 hours to figure out what I was going to do. See, 3 hours, right? It gave me 3 hours to figure out what I was going to do for the rest of the day. So what I did is, the gym was 1.5 hours. Like I told you, you can do 3 hours. I like to keep my windows 3 hours and 1.5 hours. And maybe I'll stick a 3 hour right in there, and then 1.5. So that was 1.5 hours I was at the gym. And then I had another 1.5 hours to get to the gym. So obviously getting coffee and relaxing was maybe about half that time. And then the rest of it was like getting back from the gym, taking a shower, getting up and going to work. I'm relaxing. I'm not gonna rush to work. I'm not gonna slam it and blah blah. Nah. I'm gonna get my coffee. It's something I enjoy. Enjoy starting my day. Getting the dog ready, going out, and then texting people, looking at shit on my phone a little bit. I don't really like to do a lot of social media bullshit, but that's what I do. So third, right? If this was a day, so I chose to train you. I already told you when we walked in, we're gonna do some shit today, right? So I told train apprentice, because I knew that I wanted to show you something and introduce to you something this. So, and the reason this is important too, just a little side note, is because it's going to change the rest of your apprenticeship. Simply understanding how to manage your time, because you've just been kind of willy-nilly. I've had plenty of time to observe you and see how you're doing, and you're just kind of living moment to moment. And most early 20-somethings are, right? I certainly was. But they're unfortunately, it's like the game. You remember the game? I lost, by the way. No. It's like the game. You're once you realize you're playing the game, you're fucked, right? Mm-hmm. So this, unfortunately, you're now playing the game. You spent your whole life not understanding what was going on and just living moment to moment, and now it's all over because you're going to get introduced to something that's essentially just going to change your life. So, let me get some tea. And then I'll probably do a tattoo. So that's this is probably gonna take like a couple hours. So I'll give myself 3 hours, and then I'll load my residual whatevers. Eating, maybe getting something to eat, or reading, or watching YouTube videos or whatever, into that 3 hours. And then hopefully later, I don't have any appointments today, hopefully later get a walk-in, and then that's another 3 hours, so that, and I like this 1.5 to 3 hour rule. So to reiterate, if you have 9 hours, you're here 12 to 9. This is your maximum attention span for each individual moment. So maybe you'll have 1.5 here, 3 here. You know, it could be sliced any which way, right? So, and it's almost like we almost kind of doubled up, right? One thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to while you're building, first thing you want to do is you want to apply it. Remember what I told you? Learn, test, apply. Like when I told you to draw, study, draw, study, etc. Like etc., right? You don't just want to study all day. Like you don't want to study all day and then the next day draw. This is not gonna help you. This is not your friend. This will only hurt you. You want to draw, because I like starting with the activity, because a lot of times I just want to do it, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'll fail. Like I won't do it right, and then I'll study a little bit. And I won't study a lot. I'll just like look at a couple different things, and then I'll just apply that, and I'll try to do what I was doing before. And then if that doesn't work out, or even if it does, I'll go back and study, and then draw, and study and draw. You really want to do, and you're seesawing, right? And like everything you do is on this fucking seesaw, where you rock back and forth and back and forth. You know, you're instead of fighting with yourself, right? Instead of fighting with yourself, you know, and struggling with yourself, work with yourself, right? Like have this let this person take some time, and then seesaw here. So that person takes time. You know, you both can't be in the air at the same time, mm-hmm. right? And you know, and this is yourself. This is the side of you that wants to relax, and the side of you that wants to work, right? So you're the first thing you do before, eventually you're going to want to figure out your synergies, right? I don't know if that's how you spell synergies, but fuck it. And then autocorrect has fucked my spelling.
Mine too.
I feel like in some aspects it's improved it, but right now it's fucking with me. So you want to figure out your synergies, but the first thing you want to do is apply your time. So you're going to need to apply your time. So what do you need to do today, right? First thing you need to clean the floors. That's an everyday thing. So you can reliably do that as a static, reoccurring event, right? You need to clean the floors, and then as well clean everything else. You need to do tubes today. That's a time-intensive task. That task is not going to take you 3 hours, but we can reliably say that's probably going to be 1.5 hours. And then what else do you need to do today? You need to draw.
Hey, Jesse.
What's up, buddy? You need to draw, right? So you need to practice your illustration. And then you need to learn to draw, right? Let's divide these. Learn, draw. So in your 3 hours, you'll spend 1.5 drawing and 1.5 learning to draw, right? And eventually you can modify this, right? Sometimes I'll do 2, right, throughout my day. Or I'll do 1.5, a bunch of 1.5s the whole day. Or I'll do a bunch of 3s and just call it a day. And but you just start with this. Build a baseline, build a template. And like just use this first until you're comfortable with it, and then change it. And I firmly believe in doing that. Like, just do it how someone else does it first. Do it how someone else does it. So until you understand it, until grok, and then make it your own. So, make sense? Mm-hmm. Questions? All right. So we have 4.5 hours. That's probably gonna take 5.5 hours, or 6 hours. We'll also give you, let's say, 1.5 to meander, right? To kind of dilly-dally, feed yourself, recuperate, maybe watch some videos and stuff like that. I'm not the type of person that's going to be like, you need, back when I was your age, before cell phones were a thing, and everyone had flip phones. When you showed up to work, they wanted you like working like sweat at the brow from the moment you and if you were on your phone, that was considered that you weren't working. You were like, do that on your own time. Now literally everyone has a phone. Completely different, right? Now no one gives a fuck. Now people are like, well, I'm not gonna not have my phone. It's too useful. But back in the day, back when it was all, when boomers ruled the world, that's kind of what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to show up. They wanted you to show up and ready to start working at the minute you clocked in. Like as soon as you clocked in, when I showed up, my first job was Wiener Schnitzel, and it was mandatory to arrive 10 minutes before your shift. Otherwise you were late. And I don't know if you got paid for that. I don't remember. I think you did. I don't think it matters. It's fucking minimum wage was $6.75. Who gives a fuck at that point? So you meander. So I just like fun words. What's your input? We have to do, right? We have to learn to draw and draw. Right, and I'll go over that with you as well a little bit, and then you got to do tubes, and then there's even a part of you where you can tube. What I did when I was doing tubes, I turned tubes into my relax.
Yeah, put on a podcast or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would just zone out and chill, and I didn't have to talk to anybody. I didn't have to handle anybody. Nice. Yeah. So, and then you're cleaning the floors, and want you to be better at cleaning too, because you're okay, but a good person to talk to would be Chrissy. She's a lot better at cleaning. She's been doing it for us for so long, but if you're gonna try to earn your keep here, you just need to be a little bit better at it. They railed on me when I was young too. They were just like, you don't really know how to clean. I was like, fuck, I don't know what to. I don't know why, but just make sure everything's stocked, stock. All the paper towels are topped off, all the razors are topped off, all the this, all the that, all the blah, 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 blah. So, and then probably today is maybe familiarize yourself with the tasks, right? So, and that would be 1.5 hours. So let me see your Google task.
Oh yeah, good tasks I got confused. Is this in a period? It's not urgent. Let me just turn on Do Not Disturb, which is where there it is. Fuck, I think she's immune to Do Not Disturb actually.
Well, whatever. I don't mean to text people. Okay. So I'm having you use Google Tasks. Mm-hmm. And
gonna grab some food. I'll be right back.
All right. And there you go. I'm gonna have you do Google Tasks, and I use Things, and Things is just like really. I just like that app, and but for this one specifically, I'm gonna have you do because Google Tasks is free. Things cost money. I mean, it's a one-time purchase, but it's only iOS. But it's shared across all devices. I'm sure this is too. So your every day, you should come in here and fill up your time. Right? Come in here and fill up your time. So you have clean floors. You don't use Textra? You don't use Textra?
I don't know what Textra is.
It's an Android app. It's really fucking good. I even convinced Chad to use it. It's
really?
that good. Yeah.
All right. I've been using Gboard since like
Textra
10th
is
grade,
way better
so-
on Android. It sucks on iOS. That's why I don't use it. All right. So you need to clean floors. You need to do tubes. And you can... Right. And I mean, you don't have to put the time in here, but we're going to put the time in here. Let's see. Draw and learn to draw. It's important to be, when working out, right? One of the most effective ways to grow muscle or endurance is to have intent. And you would think that just doing it would be fine, but you'll actually perform better and get more results for your effort if you have intent, right? If you're working out and you're doing a bicep curl and you're like intending, right? You're just literally in your head thinking the intent of it, that you're pushing into your bicep, all that kind of stuff, right? Not just literally, making sure your form is right. All that intent, like even if you are doing it right without intent, just the intent increases your performance. So what you're doing here is you're going to come in the morning and you're going to have intent. Right. And you're going to be like, I'm going to, and you make these things with intent. Like, so to draw and learn to draw, the reason I wrote it like that is because you're intending. You're not just drawing time, or whatever. And then, let's see, downtime, and then how much time do we have there? We got 7.5 hours. So you have another 1.5, right? Is there anything you can do or think of that you could fill the spot? Maybe you can do,
You could dust everyone's stations.
well, you can also do that because it shouldn't take you more than 1.5 hours to really clean this place. This place maintains very well, right? So when you're cleaning floors and clean shop, right? Maybe what you can do is have, social media posting.
Take care of the shop page.
And then free stuff, social media posting. That should probably take you like 45 minutes, right? And then give yourself freestyle drawing. Right here, how about this? Oh, you can move them around, just like in Things. All right, downtime. And posting and freestyle drawing. So now just if you'd like. But this is a good use of your time. So this is not like drawing or drawing to learn. This is not like the little sessions that we do where we do little instructionals where I'm like telling you how to do it. This is where you just do whatever the fuck you want. This is when you draw your dog and you try it out and you're like, that's like a leisure thing. And that you can easily do both of those at 1.5, right?
For sure.
You can start really fine-tuning these after a while. But right now, and every day you'll clear them out and do them again, right? And so this is your day now. So, and granted, I don't do this every single day. At least I have, like, at least now I kind of know what I need to do. I kind of have an idea of what my day is going to be like because I've been doing this. I've already been doing this for maybe like a year and a half. So, and mine's a little bit more refined where like I can do things today, but I'll put what I do is I have like a general box and I put all the things I need to get done. And then I move those things. I look through it today and then I move those things to the today. There's a today box.
Oh, that's nice.
And then I do the today, right? You know, so I'll be like, oh, I need to get so-and-so's Captain America illustration done by Friday for his appointment. And then, so I'll just write it. It's like, oh, I got this drawing to do, this drawing to do. Most of the time it's drawings. And then I'll need to, like, submit the rental applications, submit this, submit that, go by this, go by that. So I'll just look through it, see what I need to do that day, and just shoot them over into the today category. And then I'll have like an idea. So if I'm questioning things, like if I'm like, what can I do? I literally just pull up my phone and I look through my inbox that I've made for myself, which looks just like this, except it's just longer. And I go, oh, and then it's even more refined because I have long-term inboxes. I have inboxes that are for like next year or whatever. You know, there's like ideas for my girlfriend's birthday, like trips we want to do. You know, it's expanded and refined. Movies we want to watch that we haven't watched. You know, so if we're just sitting there like, oh well, what do you want to do? You want to watch a movie? Or like, I'm hanging out with Haley. Oh, what do you want to do? You know, and I'll look through. Be like, oh well, we haven't watched this. You know, this is a horror movie or whatever. And then she'll be like, oh, that's some, you know, or activities we want to do, or this and that. So, but now we're just gonna do the basics, right? We're just gonna do the basics, and start from there. One thing you can do too is that you need for your synergies. One thing you have to do this is fundamental drawing. We need to work on your fundamentals. And it's no one wants to do it, and it's so basic and it's so whatever and it's so just blah, but this is really where it's at as far as it's the foundation of your house. If you have a shitty foundation, your house is just going to get washed. You're going to end up like San Francisco is now, with couches flying off the skyscraper with they got a skyscraper sinking into the ground. Literally, I think it's the Millennium Tower. You know, you got everything's a mess.
Built on
Trees
trash.
Built on trash. Trees are falling into cars, trapping people. People are getting trapped under poles. So you need to have your fundamentals down. So that's one of the things that I'm gonna fucking hard push on you for your synergies. The rest you can come up with. I would probably study illustration. I mean, you can be whatever you want. You can be a painter, style tattooer. You can be this. But I think what's going to last the longest, what complements, especially American traditional, the best, which is probably what you're going to absorb while you're being here, is illustrative work. I mean, if you can always copy mine until you're ready to do yours, like I already told you, like, you know, and the list is a little bit longer. It's just, that's what came out while I'm talking to you right now. Mm-hmm. I had no plan when I began this. So I just kind of ripped. But that's how I personally work best. That's why I'm doing the recording, because I can't set anything up. I can't prep. Like I stumble, I fumble, I go blah. You know, like if I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this and this and this and this. Like if it's acted, it's just not for me. I'm a shitty actor, right? But I feel like I'm really great in the moment. So that's why I'm in the moment. I'm just telling you all these things. I'm pouring it out to you. So what do we go over?
What did we go over?
What did you take from this?
Sectioning off my day, making sure I have a plan, not spending too much time on one thing at a time. Yeah, not spending too much time on one thing and burning myself out on it. Checking things off so it all gets done, and working on my fundamentals and making sure that everything I work on works together.
So you need to have a plan. What you need to do is you need to work on your plan. You need to have a plan for your day and a plan for your life. And the supplement to that is that, in closing, everybody wants more until they've had enough, and then you don't want it ever again. So what you're doing is you're modulating that. If you just cram, at some point you're going to end up like somebody who's lost their tap owner, because they've just been cranking it so hard for so long that they've never given themselves a break, and then they'll never get their tap owner up ever again, because that's all they've absorbed and they're just done, right? So now if you break it up, right? If you break up your effort and you kind of divvy it up into sections, if you divvy up your effort, so you're like into sections instead of just being like this, right? Bam, 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 bam. If you divvy up your sections, your life is better. Your life and your what you're doing is a lot more enjoyable. So, and not a lot of people really kind of live their life like that. A lot of people, I think probably 90% of people are just living moment to moment. And you know, the reflex would be like, wow, that's a sad existence. What you need to do is you need to capitalize on that. You know, when people are talking about, you know, like if people are like, everyone's just stuck on their phones, right? And that's all they do, and everyone's getting dumber. Good. That just means more for me, because I don't fucking sit on my fucking phone all day and look at dumbass fucking cat videos. I did that when I was young. I did that on 4chan when that's what was on 4chan. And you know, like all those funny memes, people would show me memes. I was like, man, I seen that like a month ago, right? Because that's where all the memes come from at the time. Now everyone makes memes. But now I've seen so much of that, I'm burnt out. I don't need to see any more fucking videos. I've seen so much crazy fucking shit already on the internet before normies started really using the internet. I fucking grew up on the internet, right? Before normies started fucking really using the internet, and now people are showing me shit. It's just like, man, I've been there, done that. You know, been there, done that. Now, been there, done that, made the YouTube video on it. So now, what does that mean? Now, everyone is too busy staring at their phones. Not my fucking problem. That's their fucking problem. So while everyone is too busy staring at their fucking phones, you can seize the day, carpe diem, motherfucker, and go just take from them. People are too busy fucking into their fucking, sitting there like, I'm gonna FaceTime my fucking blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna FaceTime my own dick and asshole. So, and they just FaceTime their dick and asshole all day. And that leaves so much room for you to succeed. Now it's easier. If anything, now's the time to work hard. Because even though there's less competition and you don't have to work that hard when there's less competition, you actually get more rewards working harder. This job is one of the only jobs, one of the very few jobs where the more you put in, the more you get out of it, right? If I wanted to sit here and I used to fill up my day and just stack it and just fucking, but I would get burnt out, right? So now I do like 2 appointments a day, and I love my life, right? I don't have to work too hard, and I still make enough money for my bills. I'm not trying to get rich. I'm just trying to do tats, right? I'm just trying to do tats, enjoy my life, you know. That's it, and just until I die, pretty much, and go places, do things, buy shit I want. As long as I could get my bills paid and buy the shit I want and do a bunch of tats, I'm happy, right? I don't need fucking sports cars. I think it's stupid. If anything, sure, I'll take more fucking money. But honestly, I'm happy doing this. When I had the most money I've ever had in my life, I still just came to the shop and did tattoos. So this is obviously just what I want to do. But the more you put into this, the more you get out of it. The sooner you realize that this isn't like showing up to Dunkin' Donuts and you're going to make the same amount of money no matter how hard you work, right? Whether you work less or you work. The more you work at this, the harder you work at being a tattooer, the more you're going to get out of it. It is literally pound for pound, digit for digit. That's literally how it works. And then once I figured that out, once that clicked in my head, because I was just kind of meandering, going through it, not really planning my day or anything like that. That's when I really started getting into this stuff. Because if I can maximize, even if I squeeze out 1% a day, right? 1% a day. This guy at Jiu-Jitsu, Chris Vickers, constantly say this. He says, I'm just trying to get 1% better every day. After 100 days, that's 100%. That's not even a year. That's a third of a year, less than, right? So after a year, 1 year, 365% better, right? Boom, 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 boom. It compounds. When you start viewing the world like that, you're going to be like, wow. So in 2 years, you're going to be 600% better, or 700%. In 3 years, 4 years, in 4 years, 1,400% better. Like it's compound. So that's why this is important for you. And that's why it's important to do it now, right? So I started doing it when I was 30. When I had my fucking quarter life crisis or whatever. And I was like, I really need to figure my shit out, right? But if you did it now, right? So it's like stocks. If I start investing now, homeboy Terry over at the fucking Pac Mail told me this. He's like, I'm close to 60. If I can't invest in the same things you can invest into, it's not going to pay off for me because you can invest in longer. You can get into something early and have it go longer, and you can make more out of it, right? So now you, as a young lad, if you take your life and your profession and your skills seriously, and you really buckle down and be like, I'm going to be the fucking best, and I'm going to really work at it, and I'm going to really try, you can actually fucking, you can get further than me, than I can get, right? And that's the point. That's kind of the point. There's no need for like jealousy or animosity or anything like that. The point is, I'm obviously showing this so you can be better than me, right? At one day when you're my age, so you can be further than I am when I am here, right? Yeah. But it's only going to happen if you internalize it and you do it with intent. So, and then that's it. Any question?
No, that all makes sense.
Okay. All right. I got to take a piss and do shit.